Next up is EY's Magnus Jones. It is always a pleasure to have you here. And he'll talk about the recent developments in the decentralized financial space. Let's give it up for Magnus Jones.
DeFi is not decentralized, nor is DAOs, nor is dApps, nor is anything which has D in it. Remove the D. Because de facto, there's centralized human beings behind it. Yes, 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 I hear you. Of course, there's human beings who make the code. And the code is meant to be decentralized. But as much as I am a believer that the mechanisms of DeFi will become the future of finance, I would like to question the current system that is out there today. And so would also governments. Because we have been working with governments since 2015 within this landscape. We know how they think. And like the FinCEN director in the US said, just because you are a banana doesn't make you a banana, with reference here to the analogy of where DeFi is often referred to as the money Legos, i.e., just because you say you are decentralized do not necessarily mean that you are decentralized. You have to look into the facts behind it. What's there? So governments, they will look into who can point that towards a direction of responsibility. Will it be the developers? Will it be the users? Maybe the foundation who runs it on behalf of the developers and the users there. Or maybe even the core governance token holders. And in order to figure out how governments think there, you could think about it with a government hat, like they will look into it. Who started the whole thing? Who runs the websites? There's physical links there, of course. So if you are a creator of a DeFi product or a DAO, I personally would be a bit concerned towards how the current landscape is there. Because governments, they will 100% sure jump the fence where it is the lowest and hold the persons who has created this thing responsible if possible. If not, they will look further to who is running Twitter, Telegram, Discords, etc. And also, of course, the private keys element. So also voting rights, of course. So here, I think we can see that developers can and will be held responsible, the creators, but also the foundation and governance token holders. The users on the other side is less likely as far as we see it. And it's not only that we see it, because this is not something about that we just believe in it and we think it's like this. The International Organization of Securities Commissions, they recently issued this report a couple of weeks ago. And they say most DeFi protocols rely on centralization in one or more areas. And there are protocols that have a hidden centralized authority and are decentralized in name only. Of course, they're concerned about market manipulations, etc., all of these ones. And they also say that the fact that elements of DeFi protocols may be viewed as decentralized or subject to community vote does not mean that the protocol itself is fully decentralized. They also comment on governance tokens, and so has also FATF, the Financial Action Task Force. In October last year, they gave out this guidance. People now are talking about the voting in the EU and the noise there. Forget about that. That's not interesting at all, because that's not something that has been decided. This is a guidance that is out there and is applicable for all civilized countries who is a member towards FATF. There's such a member of a guidance that if you don't follow the guidance within a year, they will give you a fine. So to one certain degree, all civilized countries will follow this guidance. And they have said in the same way that it seems quite common for DeFi arrangements to call themselves decentralized when they actually include a person with control or sufficient influence, etc. They also given hints towards that governance tokens holders may be held responsible for their position there as well. And one of the countries who has implemented this one, I would say more or less blindly, is Estonia. I'm going over there on Thursday to have a workshop together with the governments, but still, that's a bit too late because it's been implemented already from March. So they have also then restricted all DeFi development. So if you are to, i.e. per se, because if you are to develop DeFi from Estonia now, you have to have a KYC, not only on the onboarding procedure, but on all your users who use the platform. And right now, the market is not that mature enough that the majority of your users for a DeFi platform would like to use KYC measures. So there was a lot of noise towards this one, that even Estonia had on the official government side there on the blue, they had to create a long website where they explained that they were not banning Bitcoin itself, and they are pro-blockchain, etc., while it's on to the KYC measures. And one of the players that are struggling towards this one is a Norwegian company that we assist called DeFi Spot. They just launched a decentralized exchange on a multi-cross chain called Thorchain. And these guys, they want to do it legal. They team up with EY. We assist them on everything here. They want to pay their taxes. They want to pay their employment fees. But like they say to me, Magnus, if this happens in Estonia now, how long time will it take before Norway take actions, or any other European countries, or any civilized countries? Well, as we say, presumable they will take action within 2022. It might come in effect from 2023, but like we saw in Estonia, strategically they introduced it on the day before Christmas Eve, so they could have no disturbance towards the noise that came there, and they put it into action in March. 3-4 months. That's what we're looking into. So these will come up. We've just seen the start of the noise within this market in 2022. Lots of more will come, not only within DeFi, but also within NFT areas, regarding to the KYC and AML measures there. So these guys are saying to me, Magnus, where should we move then? Well, maybe you need to move to another jurisdiction, which is not covered by them, where de facto today there could be other, call it illicit, actors, which they do not want to be blended together with, mixed up together with, but they are forced to move in there. And these guys, these are the ones that is actually driving the innovation for the economic system in general, as we believe. Don't look at how the DeFi market is today. Think about what I said initially about the mechanisms. And it's quite ironic then when we have the MiCA proposal and the 3 pillars of the finance package that is covering MiCA. S, to, among others, boost innovation. In the first MiCA draft, they had restrictions on DeFi, but they said, no, of course we don't want to hinder innovation, so we'll take that out. Lately, there's been lots of back and forth towards should we have DeFi, should we have NFT, should we have other specific things in there? But they have officially concluded and said, no, we do not from an EU level want to restrict DeFi, but what is happening, someone is blindly looking at the FATF-Guidance. I personally believe they have not done a sufficient job there to understand the mix and the link towards the innovation part here. Of course, we're all in favor of the idea around it, but within this landscape, there's different methods that you can do and deal with this one. Because it's, as I said, the mechanisms here that is going to be the future of finance. And this is just illustrated from the centralized system of banking in Norway right now. We have crypto exchanges like NBX, Norwegian Block Exchange, who's offering cryptos to Norwegians. We have on also your right side there, DeFi, which individuals can go in and use. But on the other side, we have the banks, DNB, the largest bank in the Nordics. They're a little bit more, we're not quite sure yet. But then we have another neobank on the far side there called Lunar. Danish originally. They made it possible now in Denmark and in Sweden to purchase top 5 cryptos in their app, in a closed silo system. So if you buy it in their app, you cannot transfer it to your own wallet. It has to stay in the system of the bank. So if you want to sell it, you will get your local fiat money back. Then it's safe and secure. And while these guys are then disrupting the market because they will come into the Norwegian market in a month or 2, the banks are saying to me when I have workshop, Lunar, never heard about them, but please put me in contact. Are they doing crypto? If they're doing crypto, maybe we can do it as well. What? So they are thinking about it. And DNB, they have also said on a speech together with the Norwegian Central Bank last year that they want to offer safe, secure custodian services of how private consumers can store their cryptos. So they are also preparing moves, but they're not quite certain yet how does the financial authorities cope with this, etc. While other actors are just moving. And while these actors are moving, considering and the traditional financial system stands a bit still, the exchanges, they're applying for ordinary banking license. Crypto exchanges are becoming banks. And after some time, banks will also become crypto-related companies. So right now, we are assisting these guys on getting an ordinary banking license because they want to offer the DeFi services to their clients. So not only necessarily if it's the current versions of Compound, Aave, Maker, or Yearn, or whatever, but maybe this one. Don't think about if someone had paid notice to the noise around BlockFi and in the US now, but think about the mechanisms and the principles, because there's lots of other solutions out there. What if you have the choice here? Buy crypto at Lunar's solution where you cannot transfer it to your own wallet. That's fine if you just want to be there for a core investment, but half of the community of the younger generation, the core users, will probably laugh at that and say, hey, not your keys, not your cryptos. I will go rather and purchase it from an exchange. And while the exchange is then thinking about getting their banking license in place so they can offer these DeFi services legally, the banks are still, the ordinary banks there are still considering whether they should just offer some or which one of these 18,000, 19,000 coins out there. So what these guys are thinking is, what if they could give you the opportunity to say, come to us and buy Bitcoin, and not only will you get what you believe that it will grow in value, but we will give you 6% interest if you just lock it up here in a high rate account, just in the ordinary banking world. 6% in addition, because we can lend it out further for 8%, just as in the ordinary financial system today. Then you have a totally new business model, which the banks, the ordinary banks, is not up to. Hence, this system needs to be developed, and we need to understand that the mechanisms of DeFi is the future of finance that all traditional financial banks and market players will adapt to. Hence, it's quite ironic that we now, before understanding what this actually is trying to restrict it as the hardest level. This is about the ecosystem. And I also personally foresee that we will see a shift in the market right now due to the FATF-Guidance, due to the noise about AML and KYC. Because all these large exchanges all over the world, they will have a pressure towards implementing it. Of course, they have no choice. They have to do it. So what we will see is that the market out there today will split in half. The core DeFi users, which is not many. Looking into the market, there's approximately 4.5 million wallets out there linked to DeFi. That's wallets, not unique users. So we're not even close to, we're around 4 million unique users globally using DeFi. It's a very small market, but the majority of them will say, we don't prefer KYC. But then again, these persons, they have no clue that governments, they can trace you, and they will trace you, and they have good tools for it. Norwegian governments are one of the best in the world. They've been clustering, tracing cryptocurrencies since 2012. They have a full overview of all users. All countries have it, but they don't want to reveal their methods yet. It's fully transparent and traceable, this system. Don't believe what you read in the media. It's nonsense. From working with the governments, from working with criminal police, from being an advisor to the United Nations group on counterterrorism for cryptocurrency, I can assure you that there's transparency and you can find the persons behind this one. It's fully transparent. But we'll see a shift here towards this one. So now it's up to time now for governments to understand that they need to talk internally to the ones that have an overview of the understanding of this one, to the governments who is actually seeing this one, working with them, compared to the ones that is not doing anything. Like the financial authorities here said, come and give us some criticism. and I will not specifically criticize them, but I can do it from the Norwegian side, which I know very well, and also the Ministry of Finance in Norway. Like all other governments, they've sat still and said, oh, this crypto thing, no, it's going to zero, it's going to disappear. Oh, shit, it's not going to disappear. Yeah, let's hope that EU will come up with some guidance. Yeah, MiCA is coming up, now we can sit still again. That's like hoping for that saying, oh, we don't need a local bookkeeping act anymore because we have IFRS within accounting. It's so stupid. You cannot cope with it. MiCA will not save all of these things. Forget it. It will never happen. MiCA is trying to regulate the 2017 market, and now we're trying to press in DeFi and press in NFTs. I can ensure within 6 months something new will come up, because when we tried to write the first proposal for MiCA, there was no DeFi and there was no NFTs, and something new will come also up in 12 months. So we need technology neutral rules here. That's what we need. So, as mentioned, is this just some high-level thoughts from a consultant who has been deep into this? Or what do the governments think? Well, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the control organ for all the banks, financial industries in the US, they said in an article in Financial Times about a year ago, could regulators, i.e. we, properly examine a bank that exists only of ones and zeros of software, i.e. a smart contract, which the article referred to then as DeFi? Yes, we can, and we even may think it's going to be easier than supervising banks today, because the whole system here is de facto transparent. So we need to wake up now and pass the message to the regulators out there and make them understand that we're trying now to actually resist and restrict the whole system, the mechanism, and we're killing innovation, and we're just moving it to other illicit places, which the actors that are serious will go. They will come to us, so they will pay the correct tax, but the local jurisdictions will not receive the income. So for example, in Norway, we have 2 unicorns right now within DeFi. They're called Nansen and Dune Analytics, each worth more than $1 billion US. Norwegian government doesn't even know that they exist. That's the perspective. They are also now considering moving out because of these uncertainty things here. Hence, we should take this seriously in terms of that this market is not about the noise, the hacks, or whatever we see of current fraud. Right now, it's a market that is being developed and needs to be allowed to grow within certain frames, of course, but we cannot kill the whole market before we have even started. So with that, these are for you to read. This is the disclaimers of what EY can do here that my colleague has asked, so don't look at it. You will get the slide, but we deliver A to Z within services here all over the world, everything from technically implementations to audit, accounting, tax and legal, advice, etc. We also have lots of great services out there. Go to blockchain.ey.com. They're free to use most of these ones, so go in there, you can check it out, all sorts of things. And we also are hosting global webinars. You can go in, follow the QR code there, and see a replay of a 2-day event covering all sorts of things. We have a new event coming up now in New York in May. And also my German colleague, Jan Rossam, is having a great podcast. Feel free to watch that one and listen into that one. And also you can hear some of my colleagues later at this great event.